Well, warm day. I thought we had a good Tuesday practice actually, and it's always pleasing. I think the quality of the opponent helps with that, and the focus was there. We've had those kind of Tuesday practices. It's Wednesday we've always struggled with. They usually hit a rut about Wednesday, but today was good. Had a good energy, good on good sections. Worked on some special teams and trying to get some guys healthy. Opening up there.
Solomon Kinley having had a couple days when we were out there. It looked like he was going second team, not ready to go first team. Where is he at this point?
I'd say about what you just said. I mean, I didn't get to see him in live action because I didn't go over the offense much today. He didn't go in the good on good stuff where we're ones on ones and twos on twos. He went with the scout work some. We think he's going to be okay, but we just don't want to put him in there with the ones right now because they go against a little bigger guys. You know, our ones go against more quality scout look teams than the twos do. So we hope he'll be all right. I'll know more after I watch his tape.
As far as Jacob goes, he seems to be moving around light years better than he did this time last week. While we're out there, is he cleared to go yet, or will it possibly be available this Saturday?
Yeah, it's day to day. I mean, he did do much better today. I thought I got to see him in the 7-on-7 periods, and I got to see him in some of the early periods in practice, and he looks much better than he did last week. He's moved around and escaped some, even yesterday. He took reps, and a couple times the lineman broke through. He was able to get away and move and comfortable. So he's much closer to being able to play.
Seems like a really good matchup, from a competitive standpoint. Your secondary and their receivers, they obviously have some really good receivers. Could you just talk about a little bit about that matchup specifically, and I guess dovetailing on that, whether Malcolm's getting to where he can help you there?
Malcolm had a much better day today. We picked his volume up each day. He's starting to get some of his stamina back. He looks really good in individual, and then as the day goes on, he just kind of wears down a little bit. But we gave him more reps every day. He's done better with each rep. I mean, he's getting back to his old self. I wouldn't say he's 100%, but he's much closer now than he was. As far as their wideouts, Marquis Callaway was a guy that, man, he's a good player. We watched him a lot on tape in high school and thought he was a really good player, and he's played above and beyond this year what I ever thought he would. He's a really good player, great punt returner, good size, great hands, and then the kid that really shows up to me is Brandon Johnson, who was down in South Florida, that is a good player. He had some big catches in the last game, and of course Josh Smith's always been there for him, Tyler Bird. I mean, they've got some good wideouts, you're right, and it should be a good matchup. Our DBs are hopefully up for the challenge. I'll tell you, the part you don't recognize in Tennessee is the physicality with which their receivers play with. Kevin Beard, who was here last year, is coaching their receivers, and he's got them blocking like they're mad. And they do a good job of that.
I was going to ask, it looked like today you guys were working on the cut blocking drill. How effective is that when they try to do those outside runs?
Well, we do that cut blocking drill every Tuesday. It's kind of like our station. It's like our annual or weekly fundamentals. So we do that all the time. But we do have live cut periods during practice because Tennessee does a tremendous job on some of their perimeter runs of cutting you. So we always think it helps that if they cut us live, we got to practice cutting live. So we're able to do that. But that's an asset for them. If you count the number of times over the last 10 years that I've had a defense play them, that you get cut, it's higher in the Tennessee game than it is in any other game. So we kind of emphasize it this week.
Kirby, what's your impression of Tennessee's pass rush? I know they went up against a opponent that was in the SEC last week and then had a big day, but what have you seen on film of them?
Well, they got great athletes up there. They got size. To me, they have more size than Mississippi State had when it comes to weight and the inside guys. Really good speed on the outside. Of course, they had that last year, and they certainly affected us last year with the kid they have. But they do a tremendous job with it, and you got to find a way to negate it. And the defensive coordinator's a good friend of mine, and he's always done a good job with the pass rush.
Coach, you mentioned in the offseason that the red zone was going to be an area of emphasis both on offense and defense. Through four games, how do you feel that work has paid off?
I feel like the work's paid off offensively pretty good. I know statistics can lie in that too, because sometimes you're 100%, but you may not be scoring touchdowns. And we have our own way of measuring statistics in the red zone that's different from the SEC's numbers. So sometimes those are misleading. But defensively, I feel like we've had a couple times that we should have held them out of the end zone or held them to field goals that we weren't able to. But we'll continue getting better. I mean, we emphasize it, so hopefully we're going to get return on it. But humility's a week away.
How do you guys evaluate that differently?
A little different. We just count it based on yards per carry, points per possession, things like that. Not necessarily did they score a field goal, did they score a touchdown.
Questions?
I guess with the lack of depth at defensive back, how important is it that Tyreek McGee sort of find a way to make an impact on this team this season?
Well, it's extremely important. We just didn't have a lot of guys, and we're actually much better off now. We're almost at full throttle with Malcolm, and AD's healthy. Tyreek's been banged up. He's been a guy we've limited some, but he and Malcolm have almost formed one person out of the two of them. So we're getting to the point where we're able to actually make it through practice without every guy taking every rep. But I'm very pleased with what Tyreek's done. He's very tough, he's very physical, and he gets better with each practice.
Staying on that same topic, you talked a lot of times about how you want those freshmen to grow up, and I mean, are those guys coming along? I mean, are you kind of satisfied with how they're growing at this point?
Some are. I mean, I'll be honest with you, some aren't. Some can't handle the not playing. You know, when the first game comes, you think you're going to play. When the second game comes, you figure you're going to play. By the time the third and the fourth game comes, you haven't played, you tend to lose focus. And we got a group of those guys that can't stay focused, can't stay involved, can't carry over from meetings. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not disappointed in them. I've come to realize that some kids mature faster than others. They'll get it. I mean, there's guys that are juniors here now that didn't get it their first year. So they'll get it eventually, but not all of them are improving. Some of them aren't learning like they need to. But the ones that can help us, we're going to make them improve.
In your experience, how common is that guys kind of losing them a little bit engagement-wise as they don't play?
Very common. I mean, they got to stay involved. And I tell them all the time, and during camp, 100 times we tell them that you better get involved in special teams or you may not be on the bus, because the bus only has 70 people on it. And it's tough to make a 70-man roster here now because the competition's increased a lot.
People are always looking for the it factor in a quarterback, but their definitions always seem to vary. How would you define the it factor of a quarterback?
W's.
What's going to be the biggest challenge in facing Dormady, Tennessee's quarterback?
Well, he does a great job. I mean, the guy makes a lot of throws. You know, I haven't seen him up close in person. I mean, I didn't really get to look at him last year, but he makes a lot of great throws. Got very good arm talent. Makes good decisions. So it'll be a challenge. I mean, their offense, they do a great job with their offense. They mix it up. They got a lot of different things they do. They always have. Butch has done that since Cincinnati.
You said Malcolm did you say Malcolm is full throttle?
Closer to full
throttle. Okay. Does he come back and get that left cornerback spot, or
just like everything else? It doesn't. I mean, he's working his way back. I say his stamina is not what it used to be. He's continuing to improve that. He gets tired quickly, so he's sharing reps. It's not are you a starter, are you not a starter? It's just like the other situation I talked about. He's working his way back into the rotation to try to figure out where he's at. He has to be able to perform. You can't go 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or 6 weeks without practicing and then get back out there and expect to immediately be the same guy. There's just too much water under the bridge. So he's working his way back. I mean, the guy played last week. You know, he's going to be much closer to being the player he was this week.
Talking about Tennessee's offense, John Kelly, what have you guys seen from him in film, and how does he kind of compare some other running backs y'all play this year?
One of the best backs I've seen. I mean, you know, really in a long time. That's what I think about him. He runs through arm tackles. He's extremely physical. He's violent in his blow delivery. I mean, this guy's stiff arms. He's hit people all over the place. The guy has incredible leg drive. I mean, I thought that last year about the guy. This year, he's just like Alvin and Hurd all together in one. I mean, the guy runs hard, and he doesn't seem to get tired. The more carries he gets, the more physical he runs. You know, some of those runs he had at the end of the game against Florida were really impressive, and I got a lot of respect for him as a competitor.
Speaking of backs, when you look at Nick in terms of his burst, his explosion, does it look different now than it did, week one or the bowl game last year? Are you seeing, that kind of what you expect out of him?
Yes. Looks different.
How encouraging is that? Given
Very encouraging. I mean, he looks faster and bigger to me.
Coach, following up on Tyreek Huggy, I mean, despite being a smaller in stature player, what have you seen in terms of his aggressive?
He's always been aggressive. Sorry, go ahead and finish.
That was all you're good.
He's really physical. I would say Peach County is one of the most physical practices I've ever seen. I mean, when I go watch them practice, it's like Oklahoma drill. They will hit you, they will hatch you up, and you don't always know what you're getting. But we had him in camp at Alabama, and he was competitive and really physical. I mean, sometimes you worry about a kid like that because of his stature hurting himself and being injured because of the way he hits people, but he's really physical. He strikes, he loves contact, and he encourages everybody else on the field. So it's a pleasure to have him on the team. I love his toughness. He's got great toughness.
John Atkins is a guy that doesn't really get a lot of attention, but he's down there working probably as hard as anybody on every play. What does he mean to the defense? And I mean, age, maturity, all of that stuff. I mean, can you just talk about what he brings?
Yeah, he's the heart of the trench. I mean, he really is. I mean, without him, the guards and centers are getting up on Roquan, and he does a tremendous job of block recognition. Meaning, when the center turns to go block somebody else, he immediately knows who's blocking him, and he strikes. He holds the point down. A lot of our defense is predicated off not being able to move him, and the less people move him, the more success we have. And he takes a lot of pride in that. And there is no glory in what he does. He's got thumbs and ankles and wrists, and he's battered, but he loves it, and he never complains.
Kirby,
Last question.
When you talk about a good Tuesday practice, how much as a coaching staff did you guys work on getting their minds right, coming off a big one, and having the right frame of mind for this one?
Well, we worked hard on it on Monday. We had conversations about it. We didn't do a whole lot today. I mean, today is a Tuesday. It's a work day. You can't rah-rah them every day. I mean, they got to take ownership in it, and the leadership has done a good job of that. I was worried today wouldn't be a great day. I thought it would be a little kind of lackluster, but it wasn't that way. They got out there and worked and competed, and hope it's the same way tomorrow. Thanks, guys.